For an Africa Independent Television, AIT. My name again is Osaibovo Usifo, and my guest is Hassan Wada. He is the chairman, Kogi State Football Association. You're welcome to Sportsfire.
Thank you, Osas.
I guess I should ring a bell for you because it's your first time on Sportsfire.
Osas, thank you so much for having me on the show.
You're welcome.
Let me formally extend a handshake to you
nice
for
one.
having me. Thank you so much.
Anyways, you are coming in at a time where the Sport Ministry has been scrapped and the National Sports Commission reenacted, re-established. What is your take on this?
Well, since our President Bola Ahmed Tinubu made the announcement of rejigging his cabinet, there's been a lot of excitement. But interestingly, the talk has been about the scrapping of the then Ministry of Sports and now into the National Sports Commission. It's a commendable decision. The last time we had a sports commission, I believe, was between 1971 and 1975 during the Gowon administration. Under President Goodluck Jonathan, they tried to revive the sports commission, but there was still ambiguity because we still had a Minister of Sports who oversaw the duties of the sports commission. But this time around, the president has taken a bold step. He has scrapped the Ministry of Sport, and he has left those of us in the sports industry with a National Sports Commission. So it's highly commendable of him. It's a step in the right direction.
Okay, the NSC's revival is aimed at restoring the lost glory of Nigerian sports. What strategy or initiative do you believe that the NSC will implement differently compared to the previous? Like, they were doing something. I'm talking about the the Ministry of Sports Development. What would the NSC do differently?
Well, Osas, I don't want to say the NSC has been revived. It's just an announcement. A pronouncement has been made. A chairman has been appointed. Okay. There are still a lot of thorny issues that need to be resolved.
Okay.
As it stands today, we don't even know whether there's an existing act establishing the National Sports Commission. Okay. If there's an act, let's say the act we're relying on is that of 1971, then there needs to be a clear, we need to rework that act to fall in line with the modern trends. So I won't say the NSC has been revived. Right now, there's been a pronouncement. We have a chairman, and I believe the task before the chairman is to see how he can set up the NSC to fall in line with what's obtainable with some of our competitors around the world.
Talking about setting up or not setting up, this is, okay, the ministry have been scrapped and now back into the system, the government system. I'm sure the Shehu Diko will inherit most of the people in the sports industry. How do you think this will hinder the progress made? Because, like, we are just changing the content. A lot of people will say the content remains the same, apart from the cover.
Well, not necessarily. You know, the term ministry oftentimes isn't independent. It is tied to the policies of the leadership of the day. That's why they appoint politicians to head the ministry. But in this case, they searched for a man who has the capacity in the person of Mr. Shehu Diko. He's a proven sports administrator. He has served on the board of the Nigerian Football Federation. He was also chairman of the League Management Committee. So I believe that was why they got him onto this position, because they looked for specialized skill set. So they will definitely do things differently. He will also now look for the skill set that can help the Sports Commission achieve its short, mid-term, and long-term goals. They will do things totally differently. Once you send a politician to a ministry, remember that the tenure of a minister isn't tenured. But also I believe that the act of the Nigerian Sports Commission will look into the tenure of the chairman of the commission. That is, if a new government takes over, it doesn't necessarily mean the chairman of that sports commission will go with the outgoing government. He will also remain based on the tenure. So this is one element that, if implemented, it will give us some stability in the sports sector.
Let me just take you back a little. Do you think Shehu Diko, we know him, okay, the former head of the LMC, League Management Company, and former vice president of Nigerian Football Federation, is that enough to hold this position? do you think he has the capability to restore Nigeria's sport? The whole essence is to restructure, to restore the glory of Nigeria's sports. Does he have what it takes?
Well, I think Alhaji Shehu Diko goes beyond the profile which you've just stated.
Okay.
He's an international sports practitioner.
Okay.
He has served on several committees in FIFA. He has served on several committees on CAF. He has done a lot of international business in the areas of football management.
Okay.
He served on the board of the Nigerian Football Federation. In Nigeria, football is the biggest sport, and I believe one who rose to the point of being an executive vice chairman of the Nigerian Football Federation has the capacity, has the capabilities, and the experience to manage the Nigerian Sports Commission. I believe it was the right decision. I believe at this moment, he is the right choice. So I expect that Mr. Shehu Diko will deliver the right results.
Okay, you have just enumerated his portfolio.
Yes.
But definitely he will be working with people, isn't it?
Yes.
What challenges do you foresee the NSC having in the discharge of their duty? Because for instance, Senator John Eno came in as the Minister of Sports Development with a lot of portfolio, but things still didn't quite go well. Before then, Sunday Dare came, things still really didn't go well with all the portfolios. Now, Shehu Diko is here. What challenges do you foresee he might have?
Well, let me take you down memory lane.
Okay.
You see, the challenges the former minister faced, Eno, didn't start with his
Administration,
tenure.
okay.
The same thing with Dare, the same thing during Bolaji's tenure during the Goodluck Jonathan administration. You see, the establishment of a National Sports Commission is long overdue. So what was happening to them was that events had already overtaken the need for a ministry. So when you get in as a minister, you are caught up in a web of activities that you are not familiar with. You get in as a minister, the next thing they're telling you is that we have a tournament next week and we need to do this and this. So you are now scrambling all over the place to see how you can ensure that Nigeria participates in the tournament. If you look at the former minister, Senator Eno, you could see that he was a battered man after the Olympics. Because when did he come on board? Olympics preparation, you start preparing for the Olympics a day after the Olympics finishes. But when did he come on board as a minister?
He came
in at the dying minutes of the Olympic preparation.
Yeah.
So he now had to run around helter-skelter trying to explain himself out of the chaos which we found ourselves in. But that's because it was still under a ministry. But under a sports commission, you will have a 5-year development plan, a 10-year development plan. So once a chairman leaves, a new chairman comes on board. He continues from where the previous chairman stopped. The training programs are well defined. The competitions are well defined. The kind of athletes we are looking for are already in the system. So we won't come up with all these slogans. Dare came and said, adopt an athlete. As soon as Minister Dare left, John Eno came. He started his own policy. So, but this time around, under a sports commission, the policies will be clearly defined. I also want to add, the National Sports Commission alone can't get this job done.
Okay.
Mr. Shehu Diko, I will encourage him to see how we can get the states to also transit from having Ministry of Sports to state sports commissions. Fortunately for us in the football world, we are very lucky. One of the few states, I think the only state in Nigeria that has a sports commission so far is Delta State. The former chairman of the Nigerian Football Federation, Mr. Amaju Pinnick, was then the first head of the Delta States Commission. From there, he transited on to being the chairman of the Nigerian Football Federation. So I believe with him there, he will assist Mr. Shehu Diko. He will guide him on how to go about executing on his new mandate.
Talking about advice, I would like you to also prefer, maybe, should I call it advice, or maybe to Shehu Diko, stakeholders' engagement in the running of sport is very important. Talking about the coaches, athletes themselves, officials, and just name it, the federations, like you said. As in trying to revive the sports industry, what steps should Shehu Diko take to ensure that the stakeholders' voices are heard?
Well, I believe that stakeholders' voices being heard should be heard in terms of the results that's coming out of the Sports Commission. It shouldn't be, you know, oftentimes we think those who make the most noise necessarily have the right content. For too long, that's what's been happening in the sports sector. You see, as soon as a minister comes on board, there's a lot of bickering, there's a lot of blame games, and it raises expectations beyond the realities of the day.
Oh, okay.
For me, once there's an act in place, like I said, the first and foremost, let's get that act set. Once that act is in place, we will now sit down with the necessary stakeholders. Let us all digest the act, and everybody will now know what is in it for them in that act. But now that he's coming on board, we shouldn't put him under pressure of saying Nigeria must win 10 gold medals in the next Olympics, Nigeria must win the World Cup, all of those things.
But we must let him know our expectations.
I understand, but you see, your expectations are not necessarily in tandem with the realities because there are a lot of missing gaps. For example, we have to sort out the issue of funding. How is he going to fund the Sports Commission?
I'll get there, exactly.
If you want him to win the World Cup, or let's say get to the semi-finals of the World Cup, can he compete with a Morocco that is probably providing an annual basis funding of $200 million just for one sport? So for now, the target before the chairman should be how we can get a clear-cut act in place. Let his position be tenured. But if he's going to bed every night not knowing if he can be sacked the next day, he will not achieve the right results. You saw what happened as soon as there was a hint that the president was going to reshuffle his cabinet. Panic set into the system. But once you are a chairman of the Sports Commission, you know that you are tenured for 5 years. Irrespective of elections, irrespective of president, you know that for the next 5 years, I'm in charge of this commission. My brother, Mr. Shehu Diko will deliver the right results.
How will he attract investors into Nigeria sport? Because one of the problems we have had over the years is the issue of funding. I was happy when you said that. He's somebody with a track record when it comes to football. Do you understand? Yes, football attracts most. As in, if you are able to run the NPFL, you know, with a few sponsors and all, that shouldn't be a problem. But how do you think Shehu Diko will be able to do this?
Let me correct you here. We are barely running the NPFL with the few sponsors we have. If you understand the sponsorship base of the Nigerian Professional Football League, you'll be taken aback. The funds are not there. I'll give you some basic statistics.
Okay.
In Morocco, at the beginning of the season, every professional football club, depending on your category, gets a minimum of $500,000 to kickstart the season from the government. You don't have that in Nigeria. So we're barely surviving in the Nigerian Professional Football League. You understand? So now, like I said, I commended the president for making this move. I also want to commend him. I saw in the press the other day that they are proposing that 5% of lottery taxes, that what they want to charge the lottery companies, they want to charge them a tax of 5%. You know, all over the world, lottery, betting, and all of that is considered as gaming.
Of course.
It's under the tutelage of sports.
Yeah.
So what I also want to encourage the president is that they should also ensure that that 5% that is being collected from the lottery companies, that 5% should go towards sports. You know, it takes two to tango. Once the private sector sees that there's a 5% from lottery that is going towards the Nigerian Sports Commission, it will be easy to sit down with the big boys of the Nigerian industry, the Dangotes, the Boas, the Shells, and all of them, to sit down with them and say, okay, we have so and so amount in the kitty. We want you to make commitments to us. And those commitments they will make will not be a 1-year commitment or 2-year commitment. The Dangotes of this world can sit down and say, okay, my commitment to the Nigerian Sports Commission for the next 10 years is so and so amount. That gives you comfort. You know that year in, year out, your programs will be well funded. But first and foremost, we must come up with a sustainable way of funding sports. And the only sustainable way available, which is being practiced across board all over the world, is ensuring that taxes collected from lottery companies are channeled into sports development. Because lottery is considered as gaming, and games fall under sports.
I heard that during Senator John Leno's tenure, time as the Minister of Sports, that, okay, some letters have been written to these gamers and all of it, as in betting industries, that some percentage will be coming to the Ministry of Sports. If they are able to do that, now the Ministry of Sports is no longer in existence, it's now the National Sports Commission. If they are able to do that, it will go a long way. Another thing that will go a long way is the grassroots. How crucial will this be to the success of the NSC? Like, and what area, what program do you think they should prioritize, talking about the grassroots?
Well, Osas, before I answer that, I also want to
Correct me.
mention something here. You know, the benefit of a National Sports Commission is the fact that it creates that independence between the political bloc and the sports sector. Under the National Sports Commission, the chairman will wake up and say, these are my plans, in line with the expectations from our athletes. These are our training programs. These are the type of jerseys we want to use. We want to have our training program in so and so country and all of that. The presidency can wake up and say, no, 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 no. You must use this type of jersey. The chairman will say, not possible. We made our decision based on this and this and this and this and that. That's a major benefit, asserting that independence with no political interference. Under the ministry, we saw the last Olympics, we had 2 sets of jerseys. The National Olympic Committee came up with their own jerseys.
Shameful.
The ministry came up with their own jerseys. These are all political conflicts. But this time around, the National Olympic Committee will be under the National Sports Commission. They will sit down, they come up with their training plans, their kitting arrangements and all of that. There won't be any form of political interference. Now, back to your question of the grassroots. All over the world, there's a program that is called the Olympic Development Program.
Okay.
You see, if you study Nigerian sports today, a lot of the training and development of our athletes, especially when they get to the teenage years, are being done by either academies or by foreign universities. You see a lot of our athletes today, they're all in foreign universities. That's where their trainings are being done, because we don't have homegrown programs that they can key into. But now, under the National Sports Commission, they will have a unified program. They come up with the Olympic Development Program. They will now drill it down to the various states.
Is that what is obtainable in the National Sports Commission, or these are your plans if you were the head?
Well, as it sees today, I don't want to jump the gun, because I've not really studied what they have on ground. But I believe that eventually, whatever programs they come up with, especially the training programs, the grassroots development programs, they need the buy-in of the states. That's why I'm saying that the chairman's task before him also will be to convince the various state governments to scrap the Ministry of Sports and convert theirs to a sports commission. You know, in doing so, you have to sideline 1 or 2 politicians who will be targeting the position of commissioners. But once you do that and establish your state sports commission, you'll also now get the right skill set to manage sports. If it's a politician that is experienced in sport, he can head the sports commission. There's nothing wrong with that. But as long as he understands the task before him. Because let me be honest with you, what's happening now in Nigeria, before we used to have what you call talent identification. But now what happens is talent selection.
Exactly.
The era of talent identification, from your state, I believe you're from Edo State.
Yes.
In your community at that time, we knew who the best footballer was. We knew who the fastest sprinter was. So when it's time for national camps, the national will say, I need you to send this person, this person, this person, based on the results they've achieved. But now what happens is that we sit down in Abuja and say, we're having under 17 camp, come and attend under 17 camp. Academies that have money to fund their players will now fund their players. 300 players will show up in Abuja here. We select 22 players, and we say those are our best players. That's why on the lips of everybody, we are saying our best players are not necessarily featuring for us, because we have not identified our best players.
Anyways, I must appreciate you. Time is always not our friend on this program. But let's just talk about, put your mouth into the Nigerian Premier League. I know, are you satisfied with the development so far? If you are not satisfied, what do you think should be put in place? In 1 minute, Mr.
Osas, you know, human beings were naturally like Oliver Twist. We always want more. So the issue of satisfaction need not arise. We always want more. But I'll say I'm very impressed. But I also remind you that a lot of the successes we're achieving today started under the tenure of the current chairman of the Nigerian Sports Commission, Alhaji Shehu Diko, during his time as chairman of the League Management Committee. There are a lot of improvements in the league. We saw last season 1 or 2 referees who made 1 or 2 errors. It became a national issue. Immediately, the League Management Committee sat down, they took action. I'll tell you right now, there's an ongoing policy of ensuring that younger people are getting into refereeing. You understand? We want new referees, younger minds who are more energetic. Because what leads to a lot of these errors at times is the fact that the referees you have are aged and tired. You understand?
And we should say kudos to Benga Legbele for that.
Yeah, exactly. Then you also see that you can watch a lot of our league matches on TV now.
Which TV? Can you tell us the station, please?
I believe, I don't know the exact stations, but they show some of these matches
Exactly,
on TV.
we know on pay TV,
You
actually.
can watch these
On
matches.
pay TV,
You can watch these matches online.
We want more. That's the reason why I asked
No,
that
but
question.
more will come. You see, some of the clubs are already having their jersey sponsorship contracts. 1 or 2 clubs already have their own stadiums. Tomorrow, the Super Falcons will be playing at the Remo Star Stadium. It belongs to a club side. I believe
Anyways.
that subsequently, more of this will happen, and the league will get stronger. You know.
Yeah, interesting fixtures are lined up in the Nigerian Premier League. And of course, the English Premier League also, interesting fixtures. We'll see Liverpool up against Arsenal on Sunday. And in the Spanish La Liga, we'll have the El Clasico, where Barcelona will be taking on Real Madrid. Both teams are actually in form. But these are just the fixtures from these league matches. And before we go, I must just give you 30 seconds. If you meet engineer, sorry, I'm calling him engineer, talking about, you call him Alhaji Shehu Diko, he's an Alhaji, yes. If you have an opportunity to advise him and he comes to you for an advice, in 30 seconds, what would you?
Well, I'll say, Mr. Diko, we believe you will deliver as expected, and I want you to remain calm, cool, and collected. You have the experience, and you deliver the right results. Mr. Osas, I want to plead with you, members of the media, because I know he's coming in. He has a lot of thorny waters to cross over. Please don't put him under a lot of pressure.
A spokesperson.
No. I'm a football person. Football and pressure in Nigeria, as Siamese
No, the
twins.
fact is,
Yes.
what we do, we try to set the agenda for whoever is coming.
Yes.
We want Nigerian sports to be better.
Your agenda should be in line with the realities of today.
The questions I've asked you, are they wrong?
No, they are good questions.
Okay.
But I don't want tomorrow now, once we have one bad result, all of you are screaming.
No.
Mr. Diko,
They
Mr.
should also
Diko."
carry the media along.
They will, I'm
You
sure
don't.
he will.
If you keep the media in the dark, we will definitely report where you have kept us.
Like I said, he's a modern administrator. He will carry the media along.
Exactly.
Yes.
You are close to him. He should carry the media along. We will be here to disseminate the information as it comes. Objective always.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Hassan Wada.
Thank
He's
you
the
so
chairman
much, Mr. Osas.
of Kogi State Football Association. Yes. Thank you so much. We hope to do this another time.
At your earliest call.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anyways, that's our time on today's edition of Sports File on Africa Independent Television, AIT. We'll be back on Saturday with another interesting show. We just hope and wish Shehu Diko all the best as he aims to re-establish that winning mentality for Nigerian sport. We are known for winning. You know, powerhouse in the world of sports in Africa. We just hope